you can do is turn it into a blood fest, bust people in the mouth and see what happens. I do believe Nick Saban will return to the original formula, 4 yards, cloud of dust, and have Tua Tagovailoa do his picking and popping and throwing the ball when necessary. Alabama is not going to stay down. They down now, but they're not going to stay down. Big ups to Alabama. On my list, they're number 2. A lot of people look at Clemson losing 4 defensive linemen in the first round of the NFL draft this last spring. Looking at the fact that they lost a lot of big time receivers in Allen and Williams, and they go you know what? I'm gonna talk when I get to the NFL. I will definitely touch on that. DJ Knox, my main man, DJ Knox just asked me, "How do you feel about Jay-Z and the NFL?" It may surprise you. It may surprise you. Trevor Lawrence is a big time quarterback talent. Y'all know I don't like quarterbacks that flinch a lot. Trevor Lawrence is a flincher. He does not like to get hit. Don't get me wrong, man. No one likes to get hit. No one. Tom Brady is also a flincher, so that lets you know flinching may not be the death knell, but you traditionally don't see a lot of flinching in big-time quarterbacks, especially at this level. When you flinch, I have to cause question, but when you have the type of talent that Clemson got, the type of speed on the outside, the running backs, and then Dabo Swinney, even though I have my issues with him and some of the things he said politically over the last few years, I'm not calling him a racist. I'm not calling him anything. It's just some things he was insensitive about other people's strife, and that's one of my pet peeves. If you don't have empathy for everybody in the history of the world, then I don't have any time for you. We will disagree. We will disagree. It's part of the human experience to disagree with people. But sometimes people take it too far. I think on a couple occasions, Dabo Swinney has taken it a bit too far, which is he's lost a little credibility with me, but that doesn't mean he's not an excellent coach. I do believe he has the talent and the recruiting prowess to make Clemson a consistent powerhouse on the national scene. So that's why Clemson is number 1. I'm expecting big things from Trevor Lawrence. And because Dabo Swinney is his coach and his backup put up big numbers when he went down with concussion last year, when the backup quarterback went down, well, actually the first and second string quarterback went down, Dabo has a wildly talented team, and I'm expecting big things from Clemson. And people keep saying the ACC is down. I don't believe that because I think the U and Florida State will have bounce back years, which will even give you further affirmation of how well the Clemson Tigers will have been doing and will do this year. Big ups to Dabo Swinney. They're number 1 on my list. And since I'm talking about lists, let me give you the last 3 people on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Anybody who don't know, that is the signal for the Supreme Court, aka the top 9 people at any position this week. It is best clutch hitters in the history of baseball. Number 9 is Larry Chipper Jones. Number 8 is Chase Utley. Number 7 is Manny Ramirez. Number 6 is Big Papi. Number 5 is Steve Garvey. Number 4 is the great wizard Ozzie Smith. Number 3 on this list is one of the greatest hitters the game has ever seen. Brought fame to Kansas City, instant Hall of Fame, the last dude to truly flirt with the 400 through a full season. George Brett is my number 3 clutch hitter of all time. And that's the end of the bench right here. That's my top. The number 3 clutch hit of all time is a ball player that we talked about in the last few weeks. One of the greatest. He is arguably the greatest Yankee of all time. He is one of the greatest baseball players of all time. A lot of people try to call him one of the greatest shortstops of all time. I ain't going. I love this guy. He gave me tons and tons of hours of entertainment, but I'm not going to call him one of the greatest shortstops. I call him one of the greatest players, but not one of the greatest people at his position. Great, but not great at your position. You can be that, and everybody know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the great Derek Jeter, man. That's what's up. This is another player who fits the exact same characteristics. Not one of the greatest right fielders in the history of the game, but he is definitely one of the greatest hitters, one of the greatest clutch hitters, one of the greatest players of all time. He's known as Mr. October because he won World Series when you brought this dude on your team, an Oakland young player, Gold Glove style, big time power hitter when you had to have power, more not these little bitty stadiums. And then he moved to Baltimore briefly, and then he moved with the Yankees, kicked ass with the Yankees, put them in led them to 3 World Series, 2 World Series championships. Actually, it might have been 4 World Series, 2 World Series championships. Played a little bit with the California Angels, and then ended his career with the Oakland Athletics, exactly where he started. Fun fact, y'all know I do the fun facts every once in a while. He's Barry Bonds' cousin, man. He's Barry Bonds' cousin. Reginald Martinez Jackson is the greatest clutch hitter that I have ever seen. And that is my
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And big ups to Yankee fans. I know Chief Rock is somewhere smiling with his punk ass. Yeah, I said it, Chief. Punk ass. That's right. But no, y'all know that's my man. I know Chief Rock is smiling with 2 Yankees at the top of my list. I didn't do that for him, but I know he's somewhere patting himself on the back. He probably messing up his rotator cuff again, patting himself on the back about them goddamn Yankees. Yeah, I'm talking crazy, Chief. I know you're listening. But allow me to get to football, professional football, the National Football League. Now, I'm gonna address Knox first. You know what? I'm gonna leave that for last. I'm gonna leave that. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and address Knox. DJ Knox asked me a question. What are my thoughts on Jay-Z partnering with the National Football League? I know New York, that's what we do. I love Reggie Jackson. I'm not giving Chief Rocker no love, Knox. I ain't giving him no rest. I'm on his back at all times. But with that being said, man, I'm going to address your question, DJ Knox. How do I feel about the Jay-Z thing? Jay-Z has been called a sellout. Jay-Z has been called a coon. Jay-Z has been criticized for the last 7 days for partnering with the National Football League and what he did. One of the things that people talked about is how is Colin Kaepernick still out of the league and you are partnering with the league. The reason Jay-Z is he's facing this line of criticism is this. Because Jay-Z, you chose to stand up and support Colin Kaepernick. You were on Saturday Night Live, one of the biggest shows in the history of television, the longest running series in the television show in the history of TV, and you on stage with a Colin Kaepernick jersey. You openly, from what I understand, I can't confirm this is what people have said. You openly allegedly told Jermaine Dupri not to head up the Super Bowl entertainment segment because in Atlanta, his town, because to show for a show of solidarity to support Colin Kaepernick. You criticized Travis Scott for participating in the halftime festivities as a show of solidarity with Colin Kaepernick. My only issue with Jay-Z is this. You sat in that room with Roger Goodell, and I'm not going to get into what he said because I don't know if he was truly prepared for that. Jay-Z is not a politician. Jay-Z is not some type of professional orator. Jay-Z, that's not his lane. He's an entertainer. He may be excellent at business, making business decisions and making business moves. He's an excellent MC. He is an impeccable rapper, MC. He's just everything that, exactly, Jay is a business man. But my only issue is you cannot have a movement, be a part of a movement, and not have the leader of that movement in a room when you are facing people who are opposed to who have played in a role in opposing that movement. Is the NFL anti our community, anti violence against cops? I actually believe the National Football League, as my grandfather used to say, could give less than a hot goddamn about brothers and sisters getting shot in the street. I don't think they give a flying fuck. And that's real. I don't think the National Football League could care one way or another. Even if one of their players got shot. I think all 32 of those men go to sleep and sleep soundly every time a brother gets shot. Because it ain't them. With that being said, they have locked arms and by and large oppose this situation. You may have one or two come up and say, hey, we're not with this and we're not with that. But by and large, man, they don't give a damn. If JD took advice from JD, turned down the opportunity, that's his loss. You a grown ass man, you make your own decisions. You are 100% correct, said G. Thank you for joining Fawn. If I ain't acknowledged you already, said G, one of my more consistent supporters. My only criticism for Jay-Z is this. The National Football League locked the arms on one side of this situation, and they're not budging. Are they wrong? No. They're not even wrong for that. Because they're looking out for the betterment, the best interest of their situation. That's your get down, man. Roll with it. I'm not even the person who asked them for support for our movement. But my only issue is this. Let's go back to 1966, people. If you were about to make a move in regards to civil rights on a national scale, you would call Whitney Young, you would call Andrew Young, you would call Martin King. At the time, he'd be Stokely Carmichael, died, rest in peace to Stokely Carmichael, for SNCC and those type of groups. You would call the people who are on that side of the world, Dr. Martin Luther and the late great Dr. Martin Luther King. You would not do anything civil rights focused or civil rights centric without calling those men. And because I can't have a conversation with Lyndon Baines Johnson, then the president, about civil rights, and Dr. King not in the room. That's why this guy who started a civil rights movement, for those who don't know, civil is short for civilian rights movement, and you don't have that man in the room. I've had several conversations with my friends, and they say, well, he ain't got nothing to do with that. He don't need them there. You are right, friends and family. But to me, your opinion is correct to you. My opinion is this. The only reason the NFL reached out and he's even talking about Jay-Z being an entertainment guy is because Jay-Z stood up and backed Colin Kaepernick. The only reason they're even talking about social justice is because of Colin Kaepernick. So you cannot be talking to somebody about helping with a civil rights situation, violence against unarmed people from our community, and not address the man who started the movement. That's my only issue. I don't give a damn if Jay-Z is what he does with his free time. I really don't. And I'm done asking people for assistance that are outside our community. I really am. Because you know what? One thing in my personal experience in life, you don't have to do is ask somebody who got your back for help. If you say, I'm doing this, and it's a strenuous task, more times than not, your real friends will say, you need some help with that? You don't have to ask people to help you. If they give a damn about you, they'll ask. They'll offer, rather. So when people criticize Jay-Z for what he is or is not doing, I don't care. Because we don't know what the details are yet. I don't like the way he did it. But I'm not gonna condemn them though.